everyone. Thank you for joining today's HxGN Hacks session. My name is Rebecca Shostall, so I'm just going to be kicking things off for us today. Stephanie is going to be facilitating today's session. If it's your first time joining us, we just wanted to do a brief introduction to HxGN Hacks and what to expect. So HxGN Hacks is just a weekly 15-minute session held every Wednesday, and it's an opportunity to get more comfortable with Hexagon EAM. So each session highlights useful tips, hidden features, and practical best practices, along with answers to common questions. Essentially, our goal is to provide quick, focused guidance you can easily apply in your daily work. Each month, we do have a theme that we are following. So for the month of September, we're focusing on materials and inventory insights. Next month, the focus will be maintenance mastery. In November, we'll be highlighting system administration hacks, and then we'll be wrapping up the year with mobile and field productivity. So, depending on your interests, feel free to register. That the registration link will apply to each session, so there's not a separate session for each week. So go ahead and join if you're able. Otherwise, after the fact, we do publish the recordings to the Digital Thinker YouTube channel. So if you happen to miss a session, feel free to check out the recording after the fact. Usually we get those published within a day or so. So without further ado, I will go ahead and pass it over to Stephanie, who will be focusing on searching for parts today.
Well, thank you, Rebecca. And today I'm going to talk about wildcards. I don't know if anybody's used them before, but wildcards allows you to search using the percent sign, and you don't have to know the exact format in which it was entered into EAM. So with parts, a couple things before you use the wildcard, you want to make sure your data spy is correct. So in our environment, we have two data spies, all parts. That include parts that are obsolete and active parts, or our part search, which is active parts. So before you search, you want to make sure you're looking or using the right data spy, so you're filtering for the right parts. So you can use a wildcard, and let's say I'm looking up bearing, and that brings up 10 results. And let's say I know a little bit of information. Maybe I know it's a bearing, and maybe I know that it has a bore of 60. So I could do a percent sign and then 60. So the important part is it's going to bring anything that has bearing, and then anything that has 60 after bearing. So it's looking for the keywords, but it's looking in the order in which you put them. So if I would do 60% and then bearing, I would either get different results or no results. So this one, I got no results. So the order in which you search matters. So and you can do multiple percent signs, and you can use this throughout EAM anywhere that you are searching. So I'm going to do bearing again, 60, and maybe I want to filter down more. And maybe I know, hey, I know that it has an OD of 45. So that gives me to where I have a bearing that is a 60 millimeter bore and then a 45 millimeter OD. So the order matters. So if I would change that 45 and 60, I will get a different result than what I had before. So it kind of just gives you the ability to search any description, really, parts, work orders, requisitions, purchase orders, with information that you have, and you don't have to make sure that's the exact way that it was input. Because I know that, everybody writes stuff just a little bit differently, and maybe, you have commas or maybe you have spaces. So that kind of takes that away to where it's only looking for the keywords that you are putting in the percent signs for, or in between the percent signs. One other thing I want to make sure to point out is the operator, you want to make sure your operator is contained. Because if I would do starts with and do the exact same thing, just keep my search the same and hit enter, I'm going to get no results. Because in our demo environment, our parts do not start, our bearings do not start with bearings. So that's just something that you can use to help you search a little bit better and just kind of not worry about how it was originally written. That kind of gives you a little bit more options. Any questions about Wildcard? I know that was really fast and kind of a big overview, but any questions about Wildcard before I move on? So yeah, if you use Wildcard, just make sure your data spy is what you want to be filtering for, make sure it's the correct one, and then I would just double check your operator. And you can use it, let's say you do split screen, you can do the exact same thing. I'm just going to copy what I have and do the split screen. Let's see here. And it's going to bring you your options. Right. So that is Wildcard that you can use to sign. Just
is that the only wildcard available? Are there other styles?
That's the one I know of. Rebecca, do you know of any other Wildcards?
No, that's all I've ever utilized. That's the only one I'm familiar with. You know, there could be others out there, but that's all I'm aware of. So some people prefer, like Stephanie here, and I do the same, you know, doing it in the description. You can also use the, you know, that %sign if you wanted to build out a data spy through the filters or even the advanced filters. But in terms of Wildcard, that's all I'm aware of. And then I think Stephanie's going to show the global part search, which is just a way of searching multiple fields. So kind of using those in conjunction are typically really useful.
The next thing I'm going to talk about is global search, and that is up here in your quick filter. So global search allows you to look at a part's catalog reference number and also the manufacturer number, whether it's preferred or not. It allows you to look at that information. Because any available fields that you can put on your list view, that is coming from your record view. So maybe you only have a manufacturer part number. Maybe you only have a partial number. You can use the global search and it's going to look past your record view. So if I would look up NW, that's bringing me two different bearings, but it's not the primary manufacturer number. So it's not showing up if I would try to search up here in my primary manufacturer from the list view. So if I double click on it, so it's pulling from either here at catalog reference, or the next one, I have it on, see, it's not there, my 10W, but it is on my manufacturer tab. And it's only pulling the part number. It's not pulling the actual manufacturer or the supplier information. So if I would search for SKF, it's not going to bring me information for an SKF bearing. If I just put SKF, or if I just put motion, it's not going to bring me that information unless it's actually in these fields, unless it's in the catalog reference itself. Like if you put motion in there, or if you put, but typically you'd put that as the supplier and the manufacturer. So it's just bringing you that information. But like Rebecca said, you can use this mixture up here. You can use the %sign also. So let's say that I know I have BC in it and maybe a 1. Maybe I only have partial numbers. That's all I can get off the part. It will bring me the information that I have. So you can see none of that is in my primary. It's not going to look at description either. It's just those fields that it's looking at. So I can see, hey, I do have a manufacturer that has BC and 1, 2 in it. Same thing. It would look at the supplier that brings that information. You're able to look a little bit farther and search without actually with using the global search. The only thing else I want to point out is it will bring your part number. So that So if I just do 1,000, it's going to bring anything, or sorry, 100, anything that starts out with 100 or has that information in the part itself. So it's going to pull from those 3 fields. So it kind of just allows you to search a little bit deeper. My only other recommendation is always start small, and then, you know, as you start narrow it down, then start adding a little bit more, you know, maybe a % sign and with additional information. That's what I have for you guys today. Do you have any questions? Anybody have any questions about using global search relating to parts or the % sign or wildcard or anything like that?
I have one thing to add.
Okay.
It's not going to show up on parts, but if you have a field that's a date, it's not quite a wild card, but you can use relative math. Like if you have a field that's just a column of dates and you want to search for things from the last week, you can use like -7 for getting the last 7 days.
You can. And also, I don't know if you know this, to fill in today's date, you just hit the space bar and it'll come up today's date. That is a good point.
Oh, cool.
That is a good
I didn't
hack
know
right
that one.
there.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different shortcuts that you can use to do like lookups or run your screen. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good something to add to. Yes, you can definitely do the minus. Our environment doesn't have a lot of information in it, so let's do less. Oops. Okay, not like me right now. But yeah, you can do -365, and then also if you're going forward, stuff like that. Well, thank you. All I wanted to share today. Rebecca, do you have anything to add?
No, thanks for hosting today's session on Hexagon Hacks, Stephanie. So we'll get a recording out here shortly, and then yeah, look forward to having you join us next week as we continue along with the materials and inventory insight series. So feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions in the meantime. Otherwise, hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.